Hi everyone and welcome to Entrepreneurs Playing Games. My name is Amandine Flachs and I'm here today with our second guest, Eddie Jaoude, who is the founder of DashboardHub, but also one of my friends, and I'm very glad to have you today because you are actually the first person I talked to about Entrepreneurs Playing Games. I remember we had a chat a while ago and it was very informal, just catching up after a long time. And you kind of pushed me to do something. I wanted to start something, I didn't know exactly what to do, and you kind of pushed me, yeah, it's time, and you have this superpower to actually push people, and but in a good way, like you're so positive and everything. And I remember I was thinking about it, and just a few weeks after, I just dropped you a line and said, well, I got something now, maybe we can talk about it. So I'm very glad to have you here today. Thanks everyone for joining us. If you have any question or anything, we're going to chat about Eddie, his background, his journey as an entrepreneur, and also about his startup. So if you have any question for us, please do jump on the chat and ask us anything, or even just take part of the discussion. Just so you know, if you're new to Twitch, you need to create an account for that. It takes just 2 minutes, it's free, but it's better to do it as early as possible so you don't struggle at the last moment when you want to ask a question. And I think that's it for the introduction and for the housekeeping part. Let's dive in. You might also hear the sound right now, and that's the sound of the game we're going to play. So the agenda is we are going to first talk about you, Eddie, and DashboardHub, and then we are going to play some video games. That's going to be quite interesting. I picked this game. It's not necessarily a mainstream game, but quite interesting game and very fun. And then we'll get back to you. So again, everyone, if you have questions, just jump into the chat anytime. Okay, so Eddie, welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. It's I'm so glad you're doing this, and I'm really honoured that you wanted me to be part of this. It's great. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I'm very glad to have you today, and well, I would say let's just dive in. So you're doing many things, and when I was preparing this interview, I was thinking, who should I introduce Eddie? You know, you're the founder of DashboardHub. Yes, and I mentioned it everywhere on social media.
Thank you. We really appreciate your support.
But you're doing also many other things. So you are an open source and diversity advocate. You have your own YouTube channel, Twitch channel. You were also doing a live AMA on Instagram yesterday.
I got invited. So someone I did a collab with, who's a YouTuber, who's a really big YouTuber. He's got like 60,000 subscribers. And I follow him on YouTube, and he was doing an AMA on Instagram, and I just happened to say hey in the chat, and then he invited me, and I thought, oh no, I look a mess, but you know what, I got the opportunity to chat to his audience, and it's really great for him being so inclusive. I thought I should join. So it was a very impromptu AMA, but it was good. I enjoyed it, he seemed to enjoy it, and we had some good questions, so it worked well.
I stopped by actually. I couldn't stay for the entire live stream, and also I had issue keeping the live stream on because of Instagram. I don't know why. I couldn't do anything else on my phone, and at this time I had messages popping up. So every time I was trying to reconnect, it just dropped out. So
okay.
I couldn't stay. But it was interesting, and I think it's interesting just to experiment with different medium, right?
Absolutely.
But anyway, how do you introduce yourself generally, and what is your story?
This is a difficult question because I do too much, and I think I do spread myself quite thin, so I don't recommend it. But I'm so passionate about all of these items that I don't want to hand them off to someone else. I do want to do them. So my day job, I do have a consultancy, which is Jaoude Studios, which is backing DashboardHub, so it is funding it at the moment, and I have clients. At the moment, I'm only working 3 days a week, so I can focus the other days on DashboardHub, on my YouTube channel, because I go to lots of tech events and hackathons and get invited to many that are focused on diversity and inclusion in tech. And I really like to, I say vlog, it's probably more document. I prefer to document my journey and my adventures, because I get to meet so many wonderful people, learn so many things, and every time I go to an event, I always learn something about how I can be more inclusive and how I can include even more people, like a bigger audience. So yeah, those are the three main things that I try and do, and it definitely keep me busy.
And I guess for you, it's very hard to just have what we call an elevator pitch, where you just introduce yourself at a networking event and you have just a few sentences. You don't have time to explain your entire experience. So yeah. I
usually focus on the open source side. I usually say passionate about open source and diversity inclusion. That's what I usually say. So yeah, people will see from my GitHub account that I'm passionate about open source and I'm a full stack developer. Yeah. And I think that backs up my day job. It depends who I'm speaking to as well. If it's someone from the social media side, or someone who's going to be more interested in DashboardHub, which is also 100% open source as well. So, and
then you don't necessarily need to introduce yourself as a founder of DashboardHub, because we can see it on your clothes. Right. Well,
I wear it proudly. I do. And even on DashboardHub's social media, it's not all about me. I do try and get it to include the other people that work for DashboardHub, to show that I really believe in culture and community culture, and for the community and for the company. And I want other people to post what they think is beneficial as well. So, yeah.
So, what is DashboardHub?
So this is actually a really good question, because this week some things have changed.
Okay, perfect.
So DashboardHub it's supposed to be a hub for dashboards, but we only ever had, for the last 2 years, one dashboard. So that dashboard became kind of DashboardHub, which is actually incorrect, because it's on GitHub, the repository, like the project name is Pipeline Dashboard. And that dashboard is to focus on software developers and non-software developers. And so it's the core team and the wider team to understand the heartbeat of their software project. But this week we've just started a second project with another team of people. And the team was recommended by Jill from Safe in the City.
Oh, yes.
And I thought, you know what, I'll pick a small project. I have a whole list of projects that I want to do for DashboardHub. I'll pick a small project and get them to do it, trial them out, see how it goes. They're actually starting coding today. And so now I've got 2 dashboards as part of DashboardHub. Okay. So DashboardHub was meant to be kind of this overarching
so a series of tools, right? Not just one specific tool, but a series and a larger
exactly all focused at kind of giving that holistic view of data and basically dashboards. So we do have 2, but Pipeline Dashboard is the main one that we've been working on for the last 2 years, with new versions coming out in a couple of months.
Okay.
We're taking a slight pivot, and then this new dashboard is a social dashboard, so you can see how many followers you got on Instagram, on YouTube, Twitter, and GitHub, and then by day, if you see it increasing or decreasing, and give you a bit of historic view, and you can see who's unfollowing you as well, to give you actual quantifiable names. Maybe you can kind of get a bit of insight into, well, I'm posting about this and they're more interested in that. So you can try and get niche, and maybe some people don't know, including myself, how niche to go. Should they go wider or really niche? So you can kind of get a bit of an idea. I've noticed that with my YouTube channel, it grows and then it dips slightly, then it grows and it dips slightly. So overall it's growing, but I think sometimes I'm not niche enough. So this will hopefully give me some insight into that.
So is that for the new version and the new offer, the new tool, or is that for the previous one?
It's for the new
one.
Yeah. So which we're calling Tribe Dashboard. So the previous one was Pipeline Dashboard, for your kind of your delivery pipeline software project. And this one's called Tribe Dashboard, which is we haven't started pushing it out yet. We will in a few weeks. But it's just got, at the moment, it's only got a repo on GitHub, and it's open source. People can follow the tickets and the issues and raise ideas. But that's your Tribe Dashboard, so it's your kind of your tribe of people, I think.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, who is your audience for both of them? For both of those tools, I don't know. Do they have some? Or do you have a name to categorize them, or do you
I think for the Pipeline Dashboard, that's more for people developing software, be it technical or non-technical. It doesn't really matter. And the idea is to bridge the gap between the two.
Okay.
For the Tribe Dashboard, it's more for the social media people, like for the influencers who want to track that. So it is a different audience. So it's like kind of 2 niches. I don't think there might be some overlap. For someone like myself, I would use both.
Yeah.
I'm biased, it's my products, But yeah, I don't think there'll be too much overlap.
Okay, so you're addressing two different audiences,
Yes.
but still in the open source community.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about this open source community and space? Because I think it's very interesting. Everyone heard about open source at some point in their life, but I don't think everyone really understands how to just be involved or how it can benefit them. So what is this space? What is the market like in the open source and the community also, because it plays a big role, right?
It does. I'll probably start right at the beginning. So some people might know this already, but I will start right at the beginning. So think of people who aren't aware of what open source is. Think of it like Instagram, but for code. So instead of posting your pictures and people putting comments and liking it, we do it for code, and people can then put comments. They can even go a step further and take a copy of your code and make changes to it and have it for their own project. So if someone likes Pipeline Dashboard, they could take a copy of it, which we call a fork, and then they could customize it even further for themselves. So it's kind of social coding is what GitHub is promoting, and they're the major platform for open source. And the open source community is amazing, as in just having all these different views on ideas or issues or defects. Most projects, most software projects are built with open source platforms. If you're using React, Angular, Node, Java Spring, PHP Symfony, I mean, there's all the different technologies, Django for Python, they're all open source. So most people are consuming open source already. And even platforms like Netflix, Spotify, Facebook, a lot of their projects are actually open source as well. Twitter, Facebook. So these big companies, I mean, Microsoft is one of the biggest open source contributors now. You wouldn't have thought that 10, 20 years ago. And think of anybody, Google, they are all contributing to open source because they want that community, they want to build that community and that trust. It's almost like branding in the social side. Why are you smiling?
I'm smiling because I'm looking at the chat in the same time. I'm listening to you, but I'm also seeing someone in the chat, Matt, saying that he feels like he's inviting to a very serious meeting. And no, that's not very serious. The introduction is a bit because we're trying to talk about startup and also open source community, so we have to put some foundation, but it's not that serious. I mean,
I hope it's not serious. I'm sitting quite casual. I got my legs up and trying to sit chilled. So hopefully not too formal. Maybe it's the glasses. Maybe.
And we're going to play some video games afterwards. So yeah, it's not going to stay too formal. No worries. But hi everyone. We have quite a few people here today. So thanks for joining us. If you have any question for us, please feel free to add it on the chat. We'll keep an eye here. And yes, we are live. So if you have a question and you ask it on the chat, we'll answer live. It's not a replay or recording at all. So yes, the open source community indeed is very important, and I think local community are also very important. Like in London, I see so many events happening around open source, and it's huge, right? So anyone can be involved easily, and you actually promote this a lot while going to events, talking, doing presentation, and also just on your YouTube channel. Also, you mentioned a lot the open source community. One big question is that how do you make money with open source? Because you mentioned that there are lots of huge corporations that are contributing, but not all their code is open source, right?
That's a really, really good point. So yeah, places like Google, Facebook, and Twitter, they haven't open sourced everything. They have a lot of open source projects, but they haven't open sourced everything. But there are companies like Red Hat, Ubuntu, Shopware, who have open source everything, and the way they make their money is via support. Or I think like WordPress, for example, is 100% open source, and the way they do that is, and the way they make their money is, if you want them to host it, you pay them a monthly fee to host it. So you can host it yourself, but you have to do all the updates, security updates, and all those sorts of things. So it really depends if you want that hassle. I say it's worth paying that, whatever it is, £20 a month, and just get someone else, the professionals who built the product, to do it. And a lot of time, when I was speaking to Shopware at a web engineering event, who are 100% open source, they were saying most people get it, they play with it, they like it, they go, oh, I'll save some money, I'll save my £20 a month, and I'll host it myself. And after a few months, when they get a bit more traction, they say, you know what, a security update has come out, but I can do the update, but what happens if there's a problem? I don't know how to fix it. So then they move to just getting it hosted by the original people who own the product, who run the product.
Okay.
So that's how they make their money.
So it's a bit like having an additional service just to run it, right? It's just a complementary service and additionally. Okay.
That's what we're going to also do with DashboardHub's products. Is if people want to host it themselves, they can. If they want us to host it, then they pay us £10 a month, and we'll host it for us, and I get all the latest features immediately, not having to worry about updates and so on.
Another thing that I see in this space also is sometimes when you have a large organization that is dedicated to open source and to contributing to open source, I think what many of them do is they have some kind of membership system going on where they have big corporations sponsoring their own development and research, and then I guess they have some additional bonuses for contributing, but also they are contributing to the space sponsoring this organization. I think it works also well.
Yeah, but I think it's really good for people's CVs, or if people want to go work for a company. If people say, I want to go work for Microsoft or Google, I say the best way to do it is contribute to their projects so they can see your work, so you can get on their radar, and when you go and apply for a job there, you can say, well, I do contribute to open source, and quite a few of them are your projects. They can go look it up, go speak to the team, and not only see how good your quality of your work is, but also see how you collaborate with other people in the core team and the wider community. And that's just as important, knowing that people can collaborate and still be professional even when they disagree, because disagreements will happen. And I think that's really, really important. So one of the best things. And if people aren't coders, they can still contribute. There is documentation, there is just so many things. I say, we used to say open source was about coding, but it's so not. They have like recipes on there now. There are books going on GitHub. There are even physical like designs for bridges and for robotics, all going open source. So yeah, open source is for everyone, and I really believe that.
I completely agree. I mean, I do have a GitHub account, and I did posted a few things, open source, my code and everything. Yeah, and I think for everyone learning, just learning the foundation, even if it's just, just an HTML page, it's always good to share and just to show that you're curious about things and your experiments. So definitely agree. But you went a bit far from Dashboard. No, that's good. That's good. I knew it would end up like that because we know each other for a while. So I knew it. I want to keep the open source and also discussion about your YouTube and everything, and diversity also, the fact that yes, open source and coding is for everyone, to maybe the second part of this interview, and maybe keep the first part on your startup.
Sure.
Also, we have a question here that Matt asked, if how to make money quick, and I think the big answer is
I don't think it's possible. I think if anyone's selling you a solution or a way to get money quick, they're going to get money quick because you're going to pay for their answer, and they're the only ones making money, a bit like a pyramid scheme. So I don't think that works. So with DashboardHub, I'm investing money for the long game. I'm looking to build up a community, the open source community, looking to build up a really good culture with the people that I hire. And I'm not looking to make money quick from it. I don't think that works. I don't think that works.
I don't even think that's a good mindset. I mean, how do you want to start something that is going to be successful if all you care about is making quick bucks? I think building any kind of project requires you to be very involved and to really want to make it happen. That means hard work and reaching out to people and being passionate about what you do. And I don't think like making quick money can be a really good drive for that. I don't think it's enough to really go everywhere and say, yeah, being proud that that's my project, that's my brand. So I don't think that's anything for that. Coming back to DashboardHub, you mentioned that you have a team already. So how many people are in this team, and how do you work with everyone?
So I have one permanent person, and then the rest are as and when I need them. So I have lots of friends in the community, and if I need someone with a specialist skill, I contract them in for a weekend, a week, or a month. And that really helps. That allows me to kind of scale when I need to, and then not scale when I don't need to. So Chenga is my a full-time employee, and she's amazing, like unbelievable. I think she runs it. She takes care of everything. So if you're watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate all your hard work. And
he's talking about you quite often, actually, mentioning you all the time. Every time I see you, actually, you mention her, which is great.
She is awesome. She does so much on the. She's looking at the kind of business development and the marketing side, but she also gets stuck into the documentation on GitHub on the open source side, and just makes changes and just gets on and does it, and really keeps things moving on and chases me, which I kind of get my blinkers on sometimes and just focus on some coding area. And she's like, wait a second, we've got an event coming up, we need you to write a description or something like that. And she does the blog posts for me, she takes care of all the social media. She's brilliant. So it's really good, and we just booked to go to a conference that DashboardHub is sponsoring in September, called Web Engineering in Palma.
Okay.
And I'm really excited.
Palma, that's nice.
It is really nice. I'm excited for two reasons. One, it's the first event that DashboardHub really sponsors. It's sponsored two before. It went exhibited at Web Summit, which has like 80,000 people, but it's not such an intimate event. You know, people run past you and you kind of see them for 20-30 seconds. And we did Startup Grind, it's very similar in London. But the reason why I'm excited about web engineering is because you'll get to see people, there's about 100 people, and you'll get to see people more and more. So they might, just get an overview from you in the morning on a Saturday, and then Saturday afternoon or Sunday, you're going to see them again, you're going to chat more, and that's going to be really great. We're also going to try and live stream from the event. But the other reason why I'm quite excited is that I've got the team, so I'm taking two people over with me, and so Chenga's one of them, and I'm extending their trip by 2 days either side.
Okay.
So therefore they can have some really good downtime in a lovely 5-star hotel, just to, so that it's just my way of saying thank you for all their hard work throughout I've had Chenga in like 9 months now, and at that time it would probably be a year and a half. So really good to say thank you, and just they can just chill in the spa hotel and just get some downtime. I think we're really good.
It's also very good for community and not community.
The culture.
Culture, yes, and also company building. Just having some activities, having informal chat about all those things and just work. And I think something that is important to mention is that your team is working remotely, and that's also another reason why it's important to get together from time to time, right?
That's very true. So yeah, we do work 100% remote and 100% flexible time. So people's hours change day to day. They just keep the rest of the team up to date on Slack to say tomorrow I plan to work kind of 10 till 8 or even 10 till 4. Sometimes we have shorter days. If you're not in the zone to work, I don't believe that you should try and stare at a screen and kind of force that work. Our work is quite creative in the tech space, and I'm including everybody in the kind of that sort of space, not just coders. So if your family's going to the beach and you want to join them, just go join them. The next day you'll be more focused, and it's more about quality than quantity. So yeah, we're fully remote. Chenga at the moment is spending some time in Hungary, so she's working from Hungary. I did last summer from Portugal and Thailand. So I really believe in quality and the culture, like you said. Yes. I
also worked in actually it was also an open source project, and it was also a completely remote team. I was working with people in many different countries, covering quite a few time zones, so sometimes it was challenging. I've tried to bring together people from Australia and from the US. That's a nightmare. But what's your tips and trick for remote team to work? I've seen some people discussing a lot about that recently, because there are more and more startups, especially at a very early stage, that are looking to have a remote team, because you want talent that are really a good match to you, and you're ready to have them in different places if it's more convenient for them. So any tips, tricks that you learn along the way?
Transparency. I mean, when we first started off having a remote team, we had some teething issues, but everyone was really professional. But it was like, I didn't realize you were going to work on that, or I need you to work on that because that's blocking me on this. So now we have become really proactive. So the idea of being so proactive that nothing should be that urgent that you need it today or tomorrow is, and if that happens, we've planned something wrong, we've done something wrong. So being proactive, being organized, and being transparent. So if I need someone, we will at them on Slack, and that shows I really need them. If I don't at them, then it's when they get time, they can look at it. I don't want to interrupt them. It's not so urgent. and we kind of know what hours people plan to work. So we have a stand-up every day, just a virtual stand-up. We don't get on a call to do it, but we have a virtual stand-up where on Slack people write, I plan to work this hours tomorrow, and I plan to work on this. And we use GitHub projects like a Trello board and move things along so we know where things are. And everything literally lives in GitHub or Slack. Those are the only two tools we use. Transparency is really, really important.
Okay, I definitely agree with that, and I think it works extremely well when you're a very small team, and then you need to really be proactive about thinking about those systems when you're growing. As you said, you had a different way of working just before, and then you came up with this system, and I think you need to rethink all the time what is best for your team. When I was working before, I was working with a company that had also a physical office. And I've seen quite a few startups in the same situation where part of the company is remote and part of the company is in an office. And I think you need to not just take someone's system that you find out online, but you need to think about what's best for your team and think about the communication and what you have already existing and how to adapt it to working remotely. If it's not in the genes of the company, it's harder to implement. So
absolutely, I think having worked. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
having worked on teams or projects where half is remote and half isn't, that's really hard because the people who aren't remote have the mentality of we're not remote. Whereas if everybody's remote, everyone has that mentality that we've got to be more transparent because you're not just getting it from someone in the office. We also do retrospectives. So being an agile team, we have retrospectives on everything. So on our sprint for that week or 2 weeks or month, depending on how many holidays there are and so forth. But also when we go to an event, we also have a retrospective of how we thought the event was, so we can try and get better at each event. And those retrospective notes are open source on GitHub, so people can see so on. Literally everything. We even want to live stream those retrospectives, but we think it might take a bit too long with people asking questions, getting involved in the chat. It's something we thought about, we haven't tried yet, so we might try that. I'd be interested to hear people watching if that would be useful or interesting for people, if they would like to see what our retrospectives look like, maybe if they didn't attend the event and they get to see the highlights of a video that I do of the event, but if they want to see kind of behind the scenes more of how it's like in a startup, which I think we're doing quite well. I know a lot of people gauge a startup on how much money it earns, and I'm more of the kind of the Gary Vee side of the culture and the brand is more important than the money. The money will come later.
Do you do anything else to cultivate this culture or to bring your vision for the culture of the company to life, other than the remote working, the 100% flexibility? Is there anything else you do for that?
When I hire people, I look for the right attitude more than skills, I think. So I think skills can be taught and skills are important, but the attitude you can't really teach. If someone's got the right team player attitude, I really believe that either the team succeeds that sprint, so that week or that month, or the team fails. Not because one person was off sick or got stuck on some work. We all get stuck on work. So I really believe that the team fails together or succeeds together. And even if you don't meet your deadline, it's not the end of the world. As long as everyone made a really good effort, then it just rolls over onto the next sprint. I think people get too cut up on cutting corners just to it looks good on paper, but actually everyone's really annoyed. The quality of work is not what people want. I'd rather have 8 features that 100% that the entire team are happy with and feel proud of, than 10 features that are all at 90% and no one's really proud of it. Because then I don't believe in hard selling, but so you want your team to naturally just speak positively about their work and about the features that they're adding on to the people they meet. I hear people say that you'd rather have 10 real fans rather than 1,000 kind of people who aren't really interested. So that's the idea. Okay,
I completely agree with that. I'm completely on board with that. Fantastic. What about we play some video games now, and then we can talk further after that?
I haven't played video games in ages, so I'm really excited.
So today the game we are playing is Nippon Marathon, and it's actually interesting. I bought this game a few months ago, and I was thinking, well, that would be a great game to play with you because we've known each other for quite a while, and I'm comfortable playing this game with you because we know each other.
Okay.
It's a bit WTF, a bit surprising. There are things happening, you don't understand exactly what's going on. It's quite interesting game, and it's actually a very good timing because the name is Nippon Marathon, so it's taking place in Japan, and right now in Japan it's actually what's the name again? It's a cherry blossom, so for just a few days you have the trees that are blossoming? No,
yep.
Is it a word?
That's the word, yeah.
Blossoming.
Don't ask me, my English is terrible.
Okay. Well, it's the right period right now to be in Japan because it's wonderful. You have all those trees, and I think it's kind of a celebration. People go there and they have those huge picnic under the trees or something like that. So it's a right time to be there.
Awesome.
So that's perfect timing for that. I'm just going to set up the game.
Let's get started.
What kind of mode?
Okay. So it's a running game.
Like this, right?
It's a running game. So you should be able to choose your character if you click somewhere. Just one. Okay, let's try this.
I've broken it already.
No, you haven't. It is on.
Do they just see the game or do they see us as well?
Both.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I think the game is right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you can see us in the corner.
Exactly.
Okay. So we get into game mode and get serious.
Yeah, you need to. Okay. Let me just relaunch the game really quickly. It's not great to do that, but for some reason this game controller doesn't get up.
Any more questions? Did anyone ask any? Do feel free to ask questions, and we'll try and answer.
Yeah.
Onion Soup Interactive.
So, okay. Going back to capture.
Nippon Marathon.
Oh no, this game looks really hard. It looks really good.
It's a very interesting game, let's say that. Yeah. Okay, so now both controllers should be on. Okay, so you have
We're doing
to...
story mode or versus. Okay, versus.
Versus,
Okay,
yeah.
you're taking this seriously. I'm glad I got my hood up. DashboardHub hoodie on fatigue, good luck.
Okay, I'm here. So, you're the first one, and you can choose your character.
Okay.
Yeah, not this one. I haven't played enough to unlock them all.
Right, okay, got you. I will choose this person. Elizabeth.
Okay, Elizabeth. Great.
Let's do it.
I'll choose Xinbei.
Zenbei.
Perfect, so we are ready. So just before we start, let me tell you more about this game. It's a running game, so it takes place in Japan, and it's just about running. So we just run. I'm going to show you the controls.
Okay.
You need to click A so we can...
Course select.
Okay. So I'll show you the controls. There is a small screen for controls once we are in the game. And it's really straightforward. It runs on its it runs
own?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, you have to go up to advance.
Okay.
But then you can just jump, duck, and dive.
Okay, so that's jump.
That's
I'm
jump.
guessing.
A is jump. B is okay. Maybe you need to. Okay. B is duck, I think.
Okay.
And X is dive.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward, and then you'll see
Which character am I again?
you're the Elizabeth.
The yellow one. Okay.
Yeah, so you're the yellow one.
Okay.
And right now we can't hear it, but can you just to play pose? If just pose so we can explain a bit.
Okay.
But you don't see it, but right now you have all the characters that introduce themselves in Japanese.
Got you.
So it has a name in a very interesting voice. And now the game is starting. So as I said, the controllers are easy and also a bit like Mario Kart.
Okay.
You can see and take objects. It's like a big boxes. You recognize them.
Okay.
It looks a bit like Mario Kart.
Okay.
And when you go through them, you actually get a random object.
Right.
So to use them,
Yep.
you can either eat them or use the object. So the different objects have different specificities.
Okay, and what's to press
So
to use them?
you just need to use the, I think it's LB and R.
And,
RB.
or.
Yeah, and. So you have two hands,
both.
and depending of the hand you want to use, because you can get up to two objects.
Got you. Okay.
And yeah, so some of them make you fly, other make you
Fly. Okay, so
fly,
cool.
yes.
Okay, nice.
Other make you drop some object behind you, and I think that's about it. I don't think that there is much to explain, so let's
do it.
Let's do it. Okay.
I'm the other one, right?
Yes.
Oh
you're
no,
the
I fell
yellow
over.
one.
Get up. Which one are you?
I am the all
What
pink
colour?
one.
The pink one.
Yes. So that's a box that gives you some objects.
How do I know what the object is?
Well, it's in your hand, but it's hard to see already. Right now you have a watermelon. Okay,
How
so
did you know I had a watermelon?
well, I could see it in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, there is nothing on the interface that tells you what you have. I think
I've lost my watermelon.
Yes, because once one of the characters reaches the end of the screen, it actually starts a game.
That was close.
Yeah.
Oh, damn cyclist. What have I got? It's allowed me to fly.
Yes, I think you're kind of flying, or you were kind of
I
flying.
got something in my hand. I don't know. Racing ahead. Go. There's a
No,
dog chasing me.
I'm behind someone who's farting because he got a mushroom.
I won!
Oh, you won?
Yes!
That's nice.
It's a quite cool game. I like
It
this game
is,
now.
right? Yeah, the first games are just to get ready, right? Just to warm a bit.
Who am I again? The other one. Okay, I keep forgetting.
Same, it can be confusing.
It's the same on Mario Kart. I always forget which one I am. Get up! Why is he lying around?
No idea. You might have just
I
hit
died.
something. Yeah, me too. He's good. The blue one is good. Yesterday I was playing against the blue guy, and that was the same. Like, it was pretty good.
Right, I think I figured out the controls now.
Okay. You see, it's not that hard, right?
It depends who you're playing against, but the computer is pretty good.
It is. But then there are so many things around. It's not just about how good you are. It's also there is a part of chance and luck, because there are some fish around us right now, and some people like the crowd watching us that are very annoying.
I've got some. Oh no! Get up!
I think there are some points actually to throw away the crowd. Like if you
I killed someone
you killed someone.
with a melon.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know where I'm going.
That's the thing. You never know.
I died. Oh no! I'm still
No,
alive.
it's actually good to go on the underwater.
Okay.
Unlike most video games. It's so hard because you
didn't
don't know what
collect
to
anything.
expect.
I didn't collect anything. I need a power up. Get up! Go! Get up! No! I was winning!
I have no idea where I am, so... What? I thought I was number one.
We need to get
Oh,
up on the
crap.
blue person.
Yeah, we need to find a way to kill him.
Again, I don't know which way I'm going. Go behind the waterfall, right?
Yeah. That's a shame we don't have the sound, because there are actually some good music on it. It's like pop music, and some there is someone commenting what we're doing, like in a real,
okay.
yeah, like in a real marathon. Someone commenting and saying, "Oh yeah, this person is doing crap. This person doesn't feel so
Oh, really?
well." Yeah, it's like very, very real.
Next time we'll come back. I'll come back in like a month or two, and then we'll have the sound fixed,
Yeah,
and then we can play this again. And you would have had loads of practice.
maybe. I don't know, because every time I try to change games, so I don't really have the opportunity to try everything too many times.
You must spend a fortune on games.
Well, not that much, I don't choose the very expensive and mainstream games. And it's not just because of the money, but it's also because it's funnier to play unknown game.
Yeah, this is
You know,
really cool.
if I set up Mario Kart, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be that fun.
That's true.
Well, it would be fun.
It would be fun,
I mean,
but
everyone has fun with Mario Kart,
it's good. You're right to do something different. I won that one.
So it's a broadcasting news. So there is a woman who's going to come ask us a question, and I think we need to answer with this. So before we click next, let me explain to you, because yesterday I was stuck here and I didn't get to understand what it was working really quickly, so I missed the first one. She's going to ask us a question, and there will be 4 answers.
Right.
And we need to choose the answer with the letters here.
Okay.
And we don't have really the time to read the answers. So it's a bit like, Cards Against Humanity?
I have heard of it, I haven't played it.
Okay, so it's a bit of the same, where you're actually trying to make a sentence that makes sense, but you don't really have the time to think all many choices. So
am I competing against you, or are we together?
everyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're competing with all the other...
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's do that. Oh, you actually have the main controller.
Okay.
So.
So keep going?
Yes.
Yeah.
Eddie Jones is just...
Do I have to choose a different one to everyone else?
Yes. Okay, well, sometimes they don't answer at all. Don't know why. I think we're supposed to read it, but I don't see how you can actually read everything. So now we are going to hear the answers, and it's good. And it's a crowd who chose the popularity. So that's you. You did okay. Oh, I didn't have time to read your answer.
What a terrible answer.
Yeah, I think it didn't work well. Mine was, they didn't want the orderly manner because of...
I didn't press anything.
No, it's going too fast. Too fast to know what's going on.
So who won?
I'm sure the blue guy is going to win again. No? It's going too fast, I think, to read it.
Come on, green person. We all seem to be roughly the same.
Yeah, I think everyone just answered crap. That's interesting. Okay, and now we continue
to run.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. I'm drawing with blue, so. Oh no! Get up! Get up! Get up!
And that's the thing, when you're the first one and you come across a dog, the dog is going to chase you.
Got you. How do you like jump to that green thing?
There are some faces on the green panels. So if the face is like a sad face, you can't go through the panel. If it's a smiling face, you can go through it.
Thanks for telling me that now, after I bashed my face against the sad face.
Well, I can't tell you everything. It's too much. I can't tell you. There are so many things happening. Yeah. Okay, so you was a pink one. No, you're the first one.
I'm
actually.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, so you were the one who got the most things. You got pineapple inflated. You have been chased by dogs. You got 2 watermelons. You're doing great.
So,
yeah.
On the serious note, who's doing better between me and you?
I think you are.
Which one are you?
I'm the pink.
So you're on 222.
Yes.
And I'm on 250. So I have 28 more points.
Yes. Wow, that's cool. Okay, let's continue then. But the blue guy is still the first one.
Felix.
Felix, yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, so we just did one
This one?
run, but you can do another one, yeah.
I'll let you drive, I don't mind.
Okay, single race. Here we are.
Will it be the same level again?
I don't think so. I don't know if it's completely random or not.
I'll choose the same character.
Yeah, me too. I have no idea if it's supposed to be the same or not. Yesterday I tried a half marathon, so it's very long, you have quite many games. I think it's here the same one, but different characters playing with us. That's a shame we can't really, after the video you need to watch this part because what they're saying is really fun. When I first bought it, I was like showing to my partner and he was like, really, are you really going to play this game with people?
I always get myself with the melon.
You can actually see a few minutes before where it's going to drop.
Oh really?
Yeah. There's some kind of a mark on the floor.
No, don't lie, I got 2 melons!
Oh.
should have thrown them. Oh, sorry, I pressed something. I pressed
No,
that.
no, I just died. That's it.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I kind of win, I think. I won, but
Give me a melon.
you like the melon?
Well, because I usually bash people with it. It's great.
Yeah.
Can you punch anyone? No, I can't punch.
No, you can't.
It's not like road rash.
But you can actually push the people on the road on the side.
Fell over. Why did I fall over myself?
I don't know why some of the cubes you can't really get them. I have no idea what is the settings. Oh, there are some people cycling.
Loads of melons. This is epic. Throw it. Yes.
Yesterday when I was playing. At some point there was some kind of huge sushi falling from the sky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was supposed to be, I think, the it was supposed to be, I think, some kind of restaurant area. So everything was about food. Quite interesting.
Oh, I can't collect that one. Why did I fall over? It's a bit silly. Oh, don't lose the melon. Don't lose the melon.
No!
Don't lose the melon.
Well, I think I won. I gained a star because I've been projected by a watermelon.
Oh, see, I had two. I lost my watermelons. I had two.
Wait, maybe that was yours. Oh, okay, so I think I am farting behind me, like there are lots of...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. My guy is getting a bit confused.
But once you drop it, that's fine. You're good. You're sure you're not playing video games.
I haven't played in ages. I'm about to lose. Oh, no. The pink one. Is that you? He's winning.
Well, no, that wasn't me.
It says
I think I
P2. You've been playing the wrong character.
I don't think so. So I think now we can get random objects. Okay, and we start with lots of
Great.
objects.
I've just fallen in the water and died already.
I got stuck in the dog. No, and I'm stuck in the mushroom. Lots of people are stuck in my own heart. That's ridiculous.
Throw the melon. Throw the melon. I got
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yes.
you got him. Yeah.
I love these melons. It's like the red shell on Mario Kart.
Yes, yeah, it is. There are actually lots of references of Mario Kart. I think they have some kind of music when there is the random object thing. There is a music of Mario Kart.
Okay.
I don't even know if it's legal to do that. Okay, now it was a part of the city, and I think it's slightly easier as is.
I think it's harder. I got
Really?
lost where to go. Oh, that dog always comes after me. Getting mauled by a dog.
Well, that's because you were in a pole position, I think. I'm stuck in this position.
I'm dead.
And I got someone else stuck on it. I have no idea if it's a feature or if it's a bug. Like, you know, sometimes your character is stuck and...
You won that one though. You
I
got
did,
a point.
yes.
But I thought you were the one that was stuck.
I was stuck.
I think you've rigged it.
And now I'm stuck in yeah, completely stuck between a big piler and...
Did you put in a cheat code or something to get
No.
all the extra points?
No. And I don't think that with this kind of game there are any cheat codes. You have the mushroom.
I think I died.
Yeah, I think you did. Where am I?
I've got more points than you now, but I thought you were winning.
But I'm not even in the picture. Yeah, they haven't brought back my character. What happened?
Lost all your lives.
I have no idea what happened to my...
Oh, this dog! I thought dogs are meant to be friendly.
No, they're not. But I don't know if they're attacking you or if they want to play with you.
It doesn't feel like fun.
Yeah.
Did I win?
Look at this picture. The winner picture. That's just...
I've got the most stars. Someone already got eaten by a dog before it even started.
I
no.
am back. Yes. But but I lost all my stars.
All these stupid face things. They all look happy to me.
Okay, let's see.
250!
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, 300!
150.
Oh, it's still going
What
up.
happened?
330. 332.
That's good.
I like this game.
That's nice. Yes. Do you want to do another run?
You're
Or
the
would-
boss. I
Okay.
don't mind. How's the chat going? How's the time looking? You choose.
Well, we're good on everything, so it's up to you if you want to do a last one or just continue chatting. Both works for me. Maybe you can just continue chatting, and
Sure.
I'll just exit all this, and so we can continue.
That's a good game. I really enjoyed that. I look forward
Yeah.
to hearing the sound afterwards as well.
It's a funny part, I think. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to watch the replay. I tried to post the video in the coming days. I don't do it right after because I want to add all the links, resources, everything you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I need some time to just rewatch the video entirely.
Of course, then that takes time.
It does, yeah.
It's a lot of time.
So it was really cool to play with you, and I really like this game. Just, kind of party game where you can just have some drink with friends, have some pizza over, and just have some fun for
It's
the
true.
evening. Okay, so let's continue chatting. If anyone in the chat has any question, please feel free to jump in. And now we can actually take some time to talk about the other things you do outside of your startup. Because you mentioned that you are actually also consulting on the side, and you have your YouTube channel and Twitch and Instagram and all your social media. So first thing, how do you manage to work on the side of building DashboardHub? I know there are many people that kind of struggle and wonder if there is a good time to go full time, and some of them think that they have to at some point really go full time or not at all, or if they had to meet some criteria before switching to this. So what's your approach to that?
So I've gone through different options with this, and I actually did try going full-time on DashboardHub about a year ago. And I took the 4 months off, and I worked on DashboardHub full-time. But doing the social, which is, at the time I wasn't very good at, I'm still got loads to learn now. As well as the coding, as well as meeting people, as well as answering questions, I thought it doesn't scale, and I couldn't, because I was taking time off to focus full time on DashboardHub. I couldn't afford to get someone full time and so forth. So I tried to find a balance, because I did then try and work full time and get 2 or 3 people on DashboardHub. But the challenge I found with that was I couldn't give them the attention that it needed. So if they had questions, do you want like A or B or C? It will take a day or 2 for me to get back to them, and then they get frustrated, and I'm kind of wasting money that way. So a balance is kind of 3 days a week, allows me to fund, allows me to still live, allows me to fund DashboardHub with one full-time person, and then 2 or 3 people as and when I need to. And that balance has worked quite well, but still not well enough. I find that because on social media I get lots of questions and comments, and because you get that gratification, be it good or bad comment, you want to put out another video, because if it's a good comment, you think, right, I'm doing another video. And if you get a bad comment, you go, right, I want to redeem myself and do another video to show that I am good at this kind of YouTube stuff. And I'm not short on content because I go to so many events and hackathons.
Yes, you do.
And then I get invited to a lot of events and hackathons that actually pay me. So therefore, they pay me really well, which is great. So that allows me to then put the money back into DashboardHub. So I'm probably investing every money that I make into DashboardHub, taking a very small amount out for personal. I'm quite lucky my wife has this year taken care of all the expenses, so it allows me to focus. So this year I'm going full steam ahead in DashboardHub for that reason as well, and to find a client that's happy for me to work 3 days a week, because some clients go, no, I want you full time, and it's quite hard. So it's quite balanced at the moment, so everything is good. And so I'm hoping around September time with this event we're sponsoring, we're all gearing up for that. And I'm hoping, so this year is going to be the year of DashboardHub.
Fantastic! I can't wait to see that.
Me too.
And it's good that you don't feel this social pressure. I think it's more social pressure that a real internal need to actually feel that, yeah, it's time to go full time. I think it's about everyone's right time. There is no right time that fits everyone. So I think it's about just how comfortable you are with the situation. And that's good that you don't feel this pressure on you and you can just stick to your vision and to your way of doing things.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think it's like people who buy a new car and they say, yeah, I want all the new features and all the fancy add-ons on the outside. And on the inside, they've got nothing, like no air conditioning, no heating, no radio, no nothing, because they spent all the money on the outside. And I think people want to say, I work full-time on mine. I'm only a real entrepreneur now because I work full-time on my startup. Yet they'll in a few months probably run out of money and not be able to continue it. So I'm thinking more the longevity, so the marathon rather than the sprint.
I guess it also depends what you're doing exactly as a startup, because if you're looking to do something that needs lots of investment from external investors, like if you're trying to raise money through VCs, or if you need to accelerate your business right now, if you are at the right moment of your startup, and you need to give a big push and you need to go through an accelerator program or anything else, they quite often ask the founders to be full-time. But I think not every startup fall into those categories. It really depends on what you're doing and who you feel what's the best thing to do next.
Yeah,
definitely.
No, that's true. And I think the accelerator is good for a lot of places, and getting funding is good. But having seen some friends who got funding and they couldn't go their way of their vision, I'm trying to do it completely self-funded.
Yeah.
It might mean I go a lot slower, and it probably does. Yes, I would like to go faster, but going slower has allowed me to, I've met more people, allowed me to get different kind of feedback, different views, has allowed me to just get better ideas and solidify the vision I have even further. So it's working well for me at the moment.
And for your business model also, that might be the best. I mean, you have the time to experiment, and as you said, you're recently trying to pivot right now. So if it's not fits you, then there is no sense to just try to follow what everyone else is doing.
Exactly. I think a lot of people do try to just go with the excitement and the buzzwords, and I don't think it always works for everyone. So.
And it also depends on how you define success, right? For some people, getting into an accelerator or getting some funding, it's success, but it's not. It's actually what you do with all that. So
that's true. So if I was to answer that, my success, I think, would be when DashboardHub or any of the products or services, if I was able to work on, it would give me the money to work on DashboardHub. So it was making the money to allow me to fund everybody and myself on it. Like no crazy profit or anything like that. I feel that I'm a success, because then I can really back up that culture. I could really make sure everyone's happy and focus 100% of my time on it. So that would be my success. And I'm not looking to make money on it this year. So for me, having 2 successful projects this year, maybe even the third small one, I think would be really good. And I would see that success for this year, for 2019. But next year, if I can, end of next year, go full time on it and cover all the expenses, then that would be the success of 2020. So yeah, this year going to be really exciting.
Well, it seems that there are lots of things you're working on right now, so I really can't wait to see the coming months. Like, should I keep an eye on Twitter, or just keep in touch and get back to you in a few months, or what's the time frame to... I try to get some sense of, when should I get back to you?
Well, the small project that I've just started, the Tribe dashboard, hopefully the idea is we've got a 1 month kind of MVP. So in kind of 4 to 6 weeks, it should be out for people to use, and there is a free version, and you can pay if you want more features. So yeah, in 6 weeks, I think it's going to be quite exciting on that side. On the pipeline dashboard, so that the main project that DashboardHub has, it's probably going to be 3 months before we get, and we're aiming for 2, but these things always take longer, so it's probably going to be 3 months, which would take us to April, May, June, so kind of July time, I think. And Twitter, will be tweeting from my personal one about my journey kind of behind the scenes. But if you want just on the products and the team, it will be more DashboardHub, because the team will be taking pictures and tweeting. If they're working on a laptop by a pool in Hungary, or if I'm doing it in Portugal or Thailand, we'll take some pictures and we'll put it on Instagram and Twitter and so forth. So just to show that with modern technology, you don't need to be all cooped up in an office. You can work where is best for you.
Completely agree. So you said that you're very active, and we already started talking about your YouTube channel and also all the content you create and everything you're involved in with content creators, because you're doing many things. So how does this benefit you as your personal brand, but also yourself and DashboardHub? Like, what effect it has on your entire life and everything you're involved in? Because I guess that's not just for one purpose, it affects a bit of everything, right?
It does, absolutely. So about a year ago, I watched some video on YouTube, and I realized that people don't buy products, they usually buy from someone or a brand they trust. And also, if any ever wanted to get investment, people invest in people, not in a product, because it might change. People might have one product this year, but next year have another product. So what I did was want to show my passion about all these things we discussed. So I thought the best way is probably YouTube. And I go to get invited to so many events and meet so many wonderful people. I also want to share their story to help encourage people into tech. So I'm not so much creating content. I feel that I'm more documenting. So I'm documenting all the fun that I have. I love what I do, all the great people we meet. I mean, we documented our fun at VidCon a couple of months ago, and that was great.
Cool.
It was really good fun. We had fun there, filming each other and all the rest. I think it's one of my better videos as well, because it was quite quirky, in that I was able to put some like B-roll on top of me being in that bubble and bursting in slow-mo while I continued talking in the background. And
a lot happened during this event. I mean, it wasn't just about, there was the talks part, there was the kind of exhibition part, and also all the discussion we had with other content creators. So it was very rich event with many things to talk about.
Yeah, and we learned so much with the whole audio, because audio is always forgotten, video being very visual, people forget about how important the audio is, how you can make it into a podcast and do loads of awesome things. So that was a real turning point for me, and that was really good. So yeah, that was good. And I just want to share my journey. I want to show other people that brand is really important. People want to know what you're like, and not just this facade that you put up when you go to a meeting. And I think that's really important. So I'm so happy. I'm so keen for you to do this, and I'm so happy that you are doing it, because again, you have have such an amazing attitude and personality. And I think it's great to shine and to show people who aren't necessarily in London, even in the wider world. You don't know where you'll be in a year or 3 years. You might be in Japan for a conference, and people can look that up and see your journey that you're documenting, and they can see what you're up to. So I think that's great. I think more people should do it. I think more people will do it. So now is a good time, but it is quite saturated, but it's not too much. So I think now is a good time, especially for people in our space, in the tech space. If you're just a kind of a vlogger, here's my day, I went to the shops, then yes, okay, that's quite saturated. But at the moment, for our space, it's not.
Do you think that it also brings the barrier between your personal and professional life really thin? I'm personally okay with that, and quite often when I meet with people or have interview or else, I try to. There are lots of questions about that quite often, and I think I'm maybe because of my generation and my age. Maybe not, maybe because I've been using social media for so many years, but I'm okay with that. But I know that there are many people that are not comfortable with having your personal and professional life getting together. But I believe that because of events also, it becomes personal, right? Even if you go somewhere for a professional reason, you're going to make friends with people and be nice and just be yourself. So it's kind of the limit between the professional and the personal life is getting quite thin, but with videos it's even worse, right? Or better, I don't know.
I think better, but I know what you mean. Some people could see it as worse. And it does become really blurred. It does. I try not to have like the mundane stuff in my life, as in family stuff. I'll say mundane, I really enjoy it, but to other people it might be kind of not so fun. Brushing my teeth, driving and taking the train, whereas the more interesting, is more the highlight. And I try and keep it somewhat work related. So going to an event, yes, I'm doing it in my own personal time. A lot of the time I'm not getting paid, sometimes I am. People won't know because I try and document that event in the exact same way.
And it's not a sponsored content when you do it, because you're not promoting anything, you're just documenting what you're doing. So you got invited to an event, but they don't ask you always for specific mention or anything appearing?
Yeah, most of them don't. They don't want that hard sell. I think they realise they just want that publicity within the community. So a lot of them say, look, can you come to our event? Obviously you get a free ticket, we'll pay you a day rate, so it's like a 2-day event or something, and can you just do what you do? And I just go do it. I just go chat to people, I film interviews, and it's with people that I meet that I think are really interesting, and a lot of them just want that. Some of them have asked to put like their logo in the corner, but when it came to the crunch time I said it doesn't make sense on my channel, but I'll give you the content and you can re-chop it up and do it how you want with the logo, and they understand and realise that makes sense. I actually haven't needed to do that, but I'm open to doing that. I've not, if they're paying me to go to the event, then I'm more than happy to put a logo on it and say kind of sponsored by, have a 5 seconds about them. But I wanted to keep it authentic. I don't want it to be, but I'm not going to go to events anyway that I don't believe in, because my time is one thing I found as a founder, as an entrepreneur, however you want to label it. Time is the hardest thing, is the most precious thing.
It is.
And no matter how much money I make, yes, I can't buy any more time, but I could farm off work to relieve my time, but I'm not there yet. So yeah, time's really precious. So I'm being really selective in the events that I go to. I recently got offered some free tickets to an expensive event. So I wasn't, they weren't going to pay me to go, but they were going to give me free tickets to go. And it's quite an expensive event. And I looked at it, it looks really, really good. It does, but it was about 90% of kind of good, and I had another event that week. So I was just like, I don't know. So unfortunately I had to turn it down, and I was really keen to go, but to do so many events in 1 week, two-day events, that's like 4 days out of a week. It's just too hard, especially with the startup, with the extra project. I wish I could have gone. I'm really grateful that they offered that to me. So it's hard. I'm kind of sad that I said no. I had to take a night to think about it, but I think it's the right decision, because otherwise, again, I've spread myself even thinner.
And events always take place at the same time. Always, you have weeks with nothing, and then you have a week with too many events. You can't just go everywhere. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you ever had any feedback about people being confused, because you are documenting what you do, and you have DashboardHub, you are doing lots of talks, you are active in the open source community, and the fact that you're documenting everything, like anyone, you have lots of interest and you're documenting it. So do you think that some people could be confused by that?
Yes, they could, and I think that's why I changed my banner on YouTube recently, rather than saying tech, open source, hackathons, conferences, diversity, all those sorts of things. I just thought I've changed it now to being open source, because what underpins DashboardHub, we use open source technologies. We are open source. Hackathons and conferences, I only go to the open source ones, as in they're talking about open source tools or products. Hackathons that are open source. Diversity and inclusion, I believe that open source is a huge part of that. It never used to be very good, but now it's a big part of it. So yeah, for me, I'm kind of branding myself as an open source person. I almost said expert there. I'm always learning all the time. So what I think is an expert today probably isn't going to be what I think an expert is next week. So, but yeah, open source kind of underpins it all, and that's my focus. Hopefully that's niche enough. I do lose subscribers. So when I post a video, I think I might go up by 30 subscribers, but I probably go down by 10 as well, because I get a lot of people just want code, to just do Angular code or Node or whatever it is. But there are so many other good channels out there that are doing that. But I don't believe there are channels out there doing what I'm doing, which are promoting great events that I go to. I've been to some events that aren't very good, and I won't share those videos. So there's 2 reasons why people aren't doing it. One, because no one wants to see it. Maybe that's the case, and I don't know. And I don't believe that, because I want to see it. So if I can't go to an event, I want to see the highlights or the talks, not necessarily the whole 1 hour talk, but a 10-minute overview of the best parts of the talk. Or if I'm thinking of going to an event, I want to see how did last year's event go, or last month's event go. And when I can't find that worries me a bit. I think, why did nobody record even a snippet, even like a 5-minute snippet? So I think, again, that will become more and more popular. People will record snippets even just on their phone from a talk and go, I like that, record a snippet, record a conversation with someone, and then maybe stitch it together on their phone and post that on YouTube. And it will be quite raw, but that's fine. If it's a short video, like a 10-minute video, no one really cares. It doesn't have to be a polished movie. So I've actually taken my videos shorter. So I was trying to do event videos where they were kind of 10-15 minutes long, and I think people dropped off after 5 minutes. So I've actually started taking. I'll do like a highlight of the event, just like a trailer, which will be a few minutes with not much talking, and then if I have interviews and they weren't 30 seconds, they were say 10 minutes, and I'm going to use 3 or 4 minutes out of it. I will post that 3 or 4 minutes by itself, so people can maybe just see that interview or discussion and maybe share that with other people themselves. And that person who was in that interview can also then say, look, this is my interview with Eddie. And they can share it in their social rather than sharing the whole video that they're less likely to share. So again, trying to become more focused on that. And that's something I've done very recently. So it seems to be going good so far. Ask me in a few months, I might have changed my view, but at the moment it looks good.
Well, it's about experimenting, right? So you try, like with software, you see how things go, you iterate, and then you try something else. You pivot a bit, you change a bit your approach, you look at your analytics for better understanding your target audience and what they like a business.
Exactly. It's really good how you compare it to software engineering. I completely agree. It's little and often, and retrospective, and fail fast, right? If you're not sure something's going to work, just try it. If it fails, then you can move on to something that works, rather than trying to delay the inevitable or like flog a dead horse. You know, just this might work, I'm not sure, I haven't really tried it yet. I
actually had the same discussion with Safia 2 weeks ago, and she's doing a physical product for main care product, and even for something physical, she's adopting the same mindset of trying something small in a really small way, and then getting lots of feedbacks and just improving all the time before trying to go too big. From the beginning. So I think that's a good approach that can be used in so many applications. We're talking about YouTube, videos, Twitch, but could be anything. So I think that's quite interesting to see that it's not. It can be everywhere.
It is moving out, and even my wife, who's a lawyer, she's adapting some agile principles. That's the right word. Agile protection. Oh my god, my English is so bad. Edit, cut this part of the video.
Well, we're live.
Yes, they're adopting some of those practices. That's the word I was looking for, agile practices. And it's really interesting how it's helping them, improve more frequently and so forth. So yeah.
You also talked about diversity, and it was for a while part of your YouTube channel banner, and that's something you talk a lot about. And I think you and I are on the same page in a sense that now your channel is more branded, tech is for everyone, and I think diversity is actually about that. It's about making something accessible and fair to everyone, and not just talking about gender diversity. I think gender diversity is important. Yes, we need more women in tech, and yes, there are great initiatives for that, and we need to push for them. But it's not just about that, right? And I think in your channel and in what you do, even the talks and more, that's in the same mindset, right?
Yes, I'm still learning how to understand that space, and I think it's, again, like everything, it's a lot to learn. Always, the more people I speak to, the more I learn. And only recently I did a talk on Wednesday, and as a gentleman in the audience who said, "You mentioned diversity, am I included?" And I said, "Absolutely," because he's a retired, he's an older man, but wants to get into tech. And so you've got age as well as gender, as well as ethnicity, as well as just so many things. And diversity, I mean everybody. Like, tech is for everybody. I went to an event at Bletchley Park by Google, and I was invited to a private event. We got this amazing tour, and I met a young lady there who's only 10 years old, and she's writing closure at the age of 10. And it was amazing. And I bumped into her at a conference in Brussels, and her mum took her to Brussels, and it was just such a small world, but it includes everybody, even people who have disabilities and can't come to an event. I try and live stream an event if they can't attend, because they feel part of it. Like, watching a video is great, like watching the highlights of the video is great, but you won't feel part of it. So I try and live stream for those people, or from a mum or a dad who's got to look after a child and can't make the event in the evening. They message me sometimes, and I'll say, I can bring extra kit and I can record it, but I can, in addition to live stream it as well. I need to finesse that a little bit, but again, it's trial and error. So I usually live stream that on Twitch. And if it's an event that I'm not presenting and I don't know how it's going to go so much, I'll use Twitch. But then if it's something that I'm presenting, I'll do it on YouTube and then edit and put it on YouTube. But yeah, just trying to include everybody, because open source doesn't care what you look like, what you're wearing, you know, what you ate that day, what your background is, how old you are. All open source cares about is that you pay a visit once in a while, you know, once a week, just make that contribution, make a comment. Because I still think raising an issue, it's not just about code or documentation. Raising an issue to say, I found that defect, or no, this defect doesn't affect me on Windows or Mac or whatever it is. And I think that is all adds contribution to the open source community. Or it's all about adding value rather than just saying, oh, I coded this amazing grand feature, which I think is not the way anymore. It's little and often. So anyone can get involved in open source, and I really want to. And if anyone has any questions, just drop me a message and I'm more than help. Not a private message though, because then other people can't benefit from it. So again, coming back to that transparency, when people ask me a question, I say, if they ask me privately, I say, can you post that publicly somewhere, either on Twitter, on YouTube comment. I'm not precious where. I prefer YouTube comment because then you get to keep that history a bit more, as on Twitter it disappears. But again, I'm not precious. And then that way, other people, if they might come across that, they might Google it and they might come across that question, and it will help them to see the answer. So again, it's not just about answering that one particular question. I'm sure other people have the same question. So it's about knowledge transfer and sharing that.
I think part of this sharing mindset, hackathons also help a lot, because you can reach out when you're just looking to approach something new. You can of course reach out to people online, find lots of information, but I think also the human interactions you have during hackathons help also a lot. Like I think we've met at a hackathon.
I think we've been to lots of hackathons together, but I think we met at a hackathon.
I can't remember when we've met, where we've met.
I was going to rely on you for that because my memory is terrible.
Oh, mine too. I'm wondering if we actually met at one of the hackathons I organised, or if we met before and we catch up. I think so.
The VR hack that you organised, that our team won, and there was no bias there because Amandine did an amazing job at organising, but you weren't one of the judges, were you?
No, I wasn't judging at all. I wasn't even in the room when the judges were actually discussing the case.
So, but we knew each other at that event, so it must have been before that.
I think so.
Maybe Code First Girls? I seem to think that for some reason in my mind. I don't know if you took part of their course.
Yeah, I did. I was selected once to watch, and then I took one of the courses, which was really great, by the way. If anyone can just attend these courses, they're doing an amazing job. I think they just reached this week half of the objective. They had this huge objective to teach code to a certain amount of women, and I can't remember the number. But they just reached the big milestone, like the half and the number, so that's great.
I know where we met. It was the teen hackathon, wasn't it? Acorn Aspirations. Did you go to that one? I'm pretty sure we met at Runway East or something, the hot desk working space. I'm pretty sure I met you there.
I did a hackathon with Acorn once.
I'm sure it was there.
So maybe it was there, but it wasn't at Runway East. It was in the same space where I organised the other one, because that's also one I organised.
Oh, so maybe it wasn't that one then.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll have to have a think. I'll ask Sarah. Sarah remembers everything.
Yeah.
Or Chenga, like both of them. Like Sarah remembers everything in my personal life. Chenga remembers everything in my kind of DashboardHub life. We go to an event, I'm like, right, what are we doing, Chenga? And she goes, right, 2 weeks ago you mentioned this, a week ago you mentioned this, and she'll just list it off and we'll just do it. So I don't know how to survive without her.
Well, I have a really bad memory too, but for that, I'm just super organized about everything. Personal life, professional life, everything is so organized that even if I don't remember, I'll find a way to remember through some trace, something I put somewhere.
That's good, because you are really organised and you're really calm. So the VR hackathon that you organised, you had just before the demos, you had some technical issues with the VR kit and you switched to another VR equipment.
Well, it wasn't just before
really
the demo, it was the entire hackathon that was a mess, because the entire hardware we had didn't work. We didn't have PCs.
But you did it so calmly. You were the last person to leave at that hackathon, I think like 11 at night, and I came the next morning at 8, and you were there well before me, like 7, setting up. I mean, you were so dedicated.
That's always the case. I'm always the first one and the last one to leave.
It's so good. And going back to my kind of, I guess, goals. Mm-hmm. So the third one I'd like to have is, not just to have enough to support the team that I've got and myself full time on it, is also to have more profit to invest back in to hire all these awesome people that I just see at a rate all the time. I would love to get all these awesome people involved, maybe not full time, maybe part time. I just think, again, it reinforces that culture. I think it's so important. So that's maybe my third goal, maybe my 3 to 5 year kind of goal, to get all these great people with their great skills, just to participate more, maybe not all the time, but to run a hackathon and to do those things. I mean, it would be amazing. That would be my dream.
Well, if you need help organizing your hackathon, I'm here. I love hackathons.
You're top of my list.
Yeah.
You are top of my list. So for me, it's not about Ferrari. It's not about, I don't know, all these super fancy things. I think I've got a nice car now at the moment. It's doing the job. It brought me to London.
You have a car and you're living not far from London, so that's already a big thing.
Where I live, we do need a car though.
Yeah.
But I don't see that. I think I've passed that phase in my life. So before I started DashboardHub, I did buy a nice car, and now I look back going, what a waste of money, because I hardly use it. But I do use it, but it's for like 5 minutes down the road. It just seems really pointless. So yeah, for me, it's working with the awesome people that I meet, and I know those awesome people would accelerate the culture, the product in the direction that I believe. And that would just allow me to have more time, because they would carry that for me, because we believe the same things. And so that's my long-term goal, one day.
Well, I think you're going there. I mean, looking at your website already, I recognize most of the names, to be honest. And that's really cool. I mean, I know that's very cool people that are on the same page as you are. And I'm sure that they have the exact same vision. So you're right on board, even if they're not full-time working with you. If they're just involved in some way, that's fantastic already, to be surrounded by these people.
It is great. And you made me think of one more thing. If we've got time, I'd like to add
We
one
have
more
time.
thing. Perfect. So we have the same vision in terms of tech, best practices, culture. The other vision is the gender pay gap. And I went to a gender pay gap hackathon with Andrew and Cedric, who you know and who helped me on DashboardHub, and such a mind blow, such an eye opener. And it was a shame there wasn't more men there to appreciate this. At most hackathons, it's kind of 90% guys. At this hackathon, it was like there was the 3 of us, I think.
Okay.
And came out, that was it. It was a bit disappointing. And so after the hackathon, I spoke to the team and said, would you be happy for me to share what you earn to help that transparency, so other people could say, oh, I do that, I earn less than that, I should ask for more, and so forth.
Yes.
And they all were on board and agreed. We haven't done it yet because I want to do a big bit of PR campaign around it, so it's just finding the time to do it. But they have all agreed to do that, and I really respect them for that. And I will, put mine on there. I'm more than happy to share, because the way companies get away with the gender, with the pay gap, the way they get away with it is they say to people, don't say what you're getting.
Well, it's in some companies, it's in your contract. You you can't talk about what you get. I don't know how it's formulated exactly, but I think in some contracts actually written.
So I will, when I hire people full time, I will make sure that it will always be transparent, not just between people in the team, people outside. I really want the people to be part of the brand and part of the culture, and to have it transparent. And I really want to pay them enough that they're proud, that they're not, because I know everything's about you can't give someone an exact number what they should get, but they should be roughly in brackets with their years of experience and their skills. And I would always want the people that work for DashboardHub to be at that top end of that bracket, so they are confident and they do want to bring other people to that top end of that bracket by giving forward, by sharing what they learn, talking at events, and being on YouTube channels and stuff. So
I think it's also important when you, especially when you have a small team, because it's getting personal. So people are here working with the company because they want to and they like the company, and after a while, even if the company grows, they still like it. It's like they have been on board for such a long time, or they really like the culture, the vibe, the vision. But if you don't pay them well, then they might struggle in the situation where they actually work on something they could make more money in another role, but they like it, and I think it can be very frustrating also, even if they like what they're doing on the day-to-day basis, being in the situation where you're actually not making that great money.
People need to live, and I really, really understand that, and I don't like people working for free either. I think that's really bad. If someone really wants to work for that particular company and there's no spaces, and they say, can I work with you for a month just to kind of get that foot in the door for free, that's different, right? They have a specific need. But when like an intern is looking for any work just to get experience, I don't believe that should be free, because they kind of so yeah, I want people to be proud. And I had another point to make and I've completely forgotten, but I'll think of it in a minute. But yes, I think that's really important in that culture.
And there is something you mentioned when you talk about this diversity pay gap. Gender pay gap hackathon. You said that there were many men, just the three of you, and I think that's a big issue, because yes, gender pay gap is important, but it's not something that just involves women. It's something that touches everyone, and I think there are more and more discussion about it. But if the discussion stays within women, it's not going to just include everyone, and it's not going to have the same impact.
I really don't understand why men aren't interested in it, because they've all got mums, they might have sisters, one day might have daughters, and don't they want to make the world a better place for them? And that's why I do it, I don't want anything in return, but I think, one day I might have a daughter. I have a wife, she works, so I want her to earn her worth. And so it's a big problem. And one of the major things that really hit home was the gender pay gap starts off quite small as it goes along, and as the careers get more experience, if you go to the C-level suite, so CTO, CEO, those sorts of things, there's almost 50% difference. So a woman CEO might earn, say, an example they gave was 200,000, but the male equivalent would earn 400,000. I mean, we're not talking about a small percentage here. That's like some serious money. And that really bugs me, because for me, gender or ethnicity doesn't come into that. If the person can do the job, it doesn't matter anything else about them, as in what they're wearing, what they look like. They can do the job. And that really bugs me. It really does.
It kind of also brings a very weird vibe into the office, if whatever you're a man or woman or non-binary, and that people around you are not being paid fairly for the work they do, it can, I think, led to some awkward situation.
It makes you think, what else is the company hiding? So when I go to some companies as a consultant, they say, you're going to love our company. We've got great culture, we've got great people, it's excellent. And within 5 minutes, you know that this is all marketing, like kind of BS that they've just put out there. But actually, it comes to the crunch, it's not. And as a contractor, I don't care. I'm there for a month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. But you can tell immediately the culture is not good. They say, we do beers on a Friday, but everyone has to go. It's compulsory. That is not a culture. You're trying to force a culture. You don't even need to pay for beers, because if the people enjoy working together and then spending time together, they will organise their own dinners, their own drinks after work. And if they've got 100% typical kind of young white guy, then you haven't got the right culture, because where is everybody else in the world? And then that kind of compounds the issue, because those people will want the beers on a Friday, will want the things that kind of the young bro, I shouldn't say white guy, I should say bro guy kind of wants. Whereas, as people in different parts of their career want different things. So, 10 years ago, I wanted that overtime, that evening work, that weekend class saving for a deposit for a house and so forth. Whereas now, for me, it's more about work-life balance and more about my startup and so on. So I'd rather have work less and have more time to do other things, be it work on other projects or spend time with the family. So I think, what people want is different, and what people, and that same person, what they want in different parts of their life is also very different. So it changes. So even if someone joins and says, I want this, it could change a year later. If they have a kid, it's definitely going to change and so forth.
So an inclusive culture will be more about make sure that everything that is made available is available to everyone, and everyone can just do and adapt with their own life, rather than trying to force people to do something.
Absolutely. I think that will automatically have the right culture, because if people like their people they work with, they might say, should we go out for dinner or for a drink tonight? I've got to go pick up my kid from school. Well, let's do lunch. So you kind of accommodate, because you see other people accommodating, having the right, and that's what I believe is culture, where everyone feels welcome and included. And I appreciate sometimes not everyone can make it, but it's different if it's something that's forced, and it comes from the top, unfortunately. If the person at the top is always too busy for people, oh, can I talk to you about something? I'm too busy next week, and next week never happens, next week's always next week, then the person at the top is instilling that culture. Or if everything's always on fire, the amount of places I go to where they say, can't talk today, everything's on fire, and then tomorrow it's on fire, next week it's on fire, and it's like, something's obviously really wrong to be on fire. Really, that shouldn't happen. We should be more proactive and so forth. So yeah, I'm still learning. I don't think we have the perfect culture, but I think we have a good culture. And if people want to know, reach out to some of the Dashboard Hub teams, ask them, let them give you their honest opinion. And I think we do our retrospectives quite often, and we learn what works for people and what doesn't work for people. So we're improving all the time.
And it's been quite a while since we've been chatting, so I know we can talk for hours. Last time, I remember we actually stayed and people around us were cleaning the space, and we were like just casually chatting for hours. But before we wrap it up, is there any resources, anything that communities maybe, or anything that you find very useful to you when you started Dashboard Hub, and or when you started any of the projects you're involved in, that you really would like to recommend, and that I'll make sure to include to auto description and everything?
Well, you put me on the spot now. There are so many. I'm trying to think of like the kind of the ones right back at the beginning. The open source community, generally speaking, has been really helpful. As in having Dashboard Hub open source, I've got quite a few people contributing, making suggestions, making improvements. One of the team members, Andrew, who you know, he has his own startup and his own project, and he also takes time to contribute open source to Dashboard Hub, even when he's not working for Dashboard Hub, and that's again been really helpful because he learns on his own e-commerce platform, Vendor. I gotta give him a shout out because he's an awesome guy, an awesome project, and he takes a lot of time to help me on mine as well, because I've learned this in my project, you might want to use it for yours, and I say, oh, it's great, but I don't get time, and he'll automatically do it for me, which is awesome.
That's nice.
Really, really nice. So
it's about making friends also. Like being involved in the community is also about developing this relationship where you're stuck on something, someone might be able to help you. You can ask your question genuinely, or even if you're just lost, you don't know exactly where to go, what to do, and you can just always ask the community for advice, looking at your situation, and just make meaningful relationship.
I think that's just you've hit the nail on the head. That's really important, that it's not most of the time it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I don't have a mentor because I believe everyone is my mentor. Even the teen hackathon, those kids taught me so much.
Oh, yeah, they are impressive.
It's really impressive, right? They don't see problems, they just see solutions, and it's amazing. And they fail fast because they just try something, it didn't work, let's try something else. And so everyone, I believe, is my mentor. I've learned from everybody, and the bigger my network gets, the more I can learn, or if I get stuck, like you said, or I know someone in that space to ask. So that's really good. So people who try and stay home and build a product by themselves, I don't think is a really good way of doing it. It might have been 10, 20 years ago, but nowadays it's important to go to events, to meet people, and have that network, and you can get them to test your product as well. You probably know someone in your network that will want to use your product and use it and test it. So that's really important. Most people say like Stack Overflow, but I don't. I find that Stack Overflow, a lot of information on there is out of date. So at one point it's good. If you look at something that is within the last 6 months, then it's probably got some good answers. But anything after 6 months is kind of way out of date. So really, when people say, oh, I found this answer on Stack Overflow, but it doesn't really work, it's like, well, look at the date, the first thing, and you go, well, it's 3 years old, but it's probably way out of date now. So yeah, I'm trying to think of like events. The Web Engineering in Palma, one of the best events I go to. I've been going the last 5 or 6 years, and the community is amazing. Women in Tech actually event, Harriet, who organises that, always says to me, when Dashboard's Hub ready, we'll put your business card for Dashboard Hub in the swag bags, and that means so much. And I want to do it when the time is right, when the next version is out of this pivot, small pivot. So again, if I didn't meet Harriet, I wouldn't have spoken at her event on Women's National Day, International Women's Day, other way around. So it is really, really important. So people staying at home just head down and trying to do stuff on the internet, you can only go so far. You've got to build up relationship with people so people can know what you're like. My YouTube channel, obviously an awesome resource for people to use. I'm a bit biased.
Yes. No, that's right.
If you want any videos in particular about startups, about open source, just put a comment and I'm more than happy to do some videos around that. I want people to comment and let me know what they're interested in seeing. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. And if you think of anything else, no worries, you can just, drop me a line and I'll make sure I'll just add it somewhere.
I will have a think the rest of the day. I'm sure there is more that I'm missing out on. I apologise for anyone who is watching and they're themselves or their channel or it's been a good resource and I haven't mentioned it. I really apologise.
Well, it's live, right? So you can't think of everything and just spend an hour just putting your thought together. It's just live, so it's out.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Well, we've been chatting for an hour 45 now.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been quite a while. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you very much, Eddie. Huge pleasure to have you and to see you again as usual. We are in touch regularly, so it's
true.
It's not like if we haven't had a chat for a year or something, but it's always good to see you. Thanks everyone for joining us, and I will post the video of the replay of the entire discussion on YouTube in the coming days, and then also do some promo on all social media. I'm especially active on Twitter, so if you have any suggestions or want to know more about the upcoming episode or anything, just drop me a line on Twitter. And the Twitter of Entrepreneurs Playing Games and my personal Twitter are on the description, and I'll make sure I also post the links everywhere in the chat. I'll be available for a few minutes in the chat if you have more questions, and otherwise I hope to see you in 2 weeks. We will have another entrepreneur called Anthony. He's building his own project, which is an agency, a marketing agency, but focusing on generational... that's going to be hard. On generational gap and targeting younger generation, so to help big corporation adapt their marketing and strategy for communication. Anyway, I'm sure he will explain this better than I do. I hope so. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks. Keep an eye on social media, and thanks again everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.